watching Toonami.
So I just recently finished Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I know what you're thinking, what does this have to do with Black Lagoon, but I'll get there. The most intriguing and enjoyable aspect of the show is definitely Donald Glover and Maya Erskine's character relationships with each other. Being based off of the movie with the same name, the show aims to kind of elevate this circumstance and go more into the espionage role of the show, as well as develop the relationship through the high stakes missions they go through and the kind of highs and lows between their love and their falling outs. And the whole time I'm watching the show, I couldn't help but feel like I've seen this relationship somewhere before. And lo and behold, that's when I thought of Black Lagoon. These are very similar character archetypes and scenarios that you would see Rock and Revy face. And thus, that brings me here and why I want to talk about Black Lagoon and how rad awesome it is, man. It totally kicks ass. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Black Lagoon was an anime series that came out in 2006, spanning 2 seasons, 12 episodes each. There wasn't really a giant overarching story. It was mainly smaller stories combined based on different clients that kind of order certain services from the Lagoon Company. The story starts out with Rokuro, who ends up going on a corporate company trip to Thailand, which their boat ends up getting ransacked and raided by the Lagoon Company, specifically Revy. And on a whim, our main character decides to kind of throw away everything as he hated the corporate company life of sucking up to his Japanese business and manager. So when given the opportunity, he ends up joining the Lagoon Company, saying that he can withstand this lifestyle and he's ready for this change of pace. All while Revy and Dutch are just making fun of him the whole time. But he ends up joining them. And with that comes his new identity, and his name gets changed to just Rock. Our main crew of Revy, Dutch, Rock, and Benny Boy, they all handle and do a bunch of different things that span throughout the whole show, and there's a lot of cool story beats that come in here. From the outside looking in, you would think the series is just kind of known for its unfiltered, rated R kind of rating and just unhinged dub.
Please, no, I want to give you,
You said you were gonna give me something, right? Well, spit it out. I'm right here. What the fuck are you gonna give me?
But oftentimes the amazing action gets overtoppled by the amazing stories that are at play here and the very different revolving cast of characters that cycle throughout the vignettes that our main duo encounter. You have Roberta, the maid and caretaker that is insanely trained to just deal with firearms and a lot of things that a caretaker probably shouldn't know. And you have Etta, who's a nun at a church that sells firearms. Or you'll have Balalaika, who is this Russian stone cold badass that usually is kind of the top higher up commissioner of the Lagoon Company. There's a lot of style that actually revolves around with the show, but that's probably because it's by Studio Madhouse, who can make very stylish changes to a source material for its anime adaptation. You see it all the time with even like Hunter x Hunter, where the manga art style is drastically different, but it still has that same essence in the show. And it's the same way in Black Lagoon. I'm a sucker for the late 90s, early 2000s art style at play here. But let's talk about what makes the series truly unique. And it's not just Revy, but also Light Yagami. Rock. God, oh my god, his voice is just so notable, I can't see him as any other role. But yes, their relationship is truly what makes Black Lagoon just such a joy to watch.
You bastard!
Who are you calling bastard? My name is Rock. You got that? Fuck! I've had more than my fill of this shit. I've had enough. I thought I was done with kissing ass for a living, but here I am at the ends of the earth. And now I'm supposed to be kissing your ass? What kind of sick joke is this?
You fucking spoiled, arrogant son of a...
It's Rock! And arrogant? Who the hell are you kidding? Why don't you try taking a good look at yourself? Aren't you supposed to be some kind of outlaw, a wild pirate? But as soon as you open your mouth, all I ever hear you talking about is money, money, money. You think you'd be some hard-ass villain after the big prize, but you end up scavenging off corpses instead. Is there any fucking limit to how greedy you can be?
And like I said earlier about Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Revy and Rock have one of the most charismatic relationships with each other on screen. They're constantly bickering and fighting, and Revy is just this sociopath with this really brutal growing up backstory. As you unravel more about Revy's past, it in turn also leads to Rock sticking up for himself more and wanting to pry into her past to better know her. She closes him off and it makes him angry, and then at the end of the series, he gets angry with her for a completely opposite reason. They become attached to each other, and this is the first time Revy is even opened up remotely to anyone.
All of this to an end now. Don't look at her, Rock! Look at me!
There's a lot of dark themes and subject matter that gets put at play here, but it's for the most part very tasteful. But again, this series is known for a lot of its comedy. I mean, you literally have a whole episode dedicated just shooting up and blowing up a whole boat of neo-Nazis. I mean, it's so rad. But within that same story arc, you also have them trapped at the bottom of a sunken submarine trying to recover a old World War II Nazi painting. And during that retrieval with the two of them stuck down there, they unload some heavy exhaustion of the problems they see with each other and just what they truly despise about each other's personalities.
Is money your god?
It's power. Something a lot more useful than God. And Rock, if you think about it, other than this, what do we really value in life? God? Love? Don't make me laugh. Back when I was just a brat, crawling around that shithole city, it seemed like God and love were always sold out when I went looking. Before I knew better, I clung to God and prayed to him every single night. Yeah, I believed in God right up until that night the cops beat the hell out of me for no reason at all.
All cards are on the table, and it lets them have a deeper understanding of each other. And thus, after that episode, the show changes completely. The show likes to use Revy a lot as kind of the center point, with her having the most personality and charisma of any of the characters. She exudes this brash, brazen personality on the outside, but she shuts off all her feelings on the inside, which leads her to just go insane at moments. Again, this series is pretty rough. I mean, you'll see kids die on screen, just uncensored. The island they're company resides on is just this completely hostile and just self-serving wasteland where you constantly have to watch your back and make sure that the people you work with don't screw you over. Now, that's all cool, fine and dandy, but I know why you really want to watch this show.
We take you to base only, then getting the money. We're not interested in work more.
My partner has the fucking documents. Do you follow? Understand you? Yes? You got that, Chinglish? This tank's getting on my last nerve. Listen up, you fucking leprechaun. You're gonna wait here until you get our signal. If you run away, I'll hunt you down and castrate you.
Hey, I'm not gonna act all superior. I like hearing no words. There's just something so beautiful about seeing people berate each other or physically abuse each other over minor inconveniences. Oh, you dropped my peanut butter jelly sandwich? Okay, well, I'm just gonna put a bullet in your brain. Look, sometimes you just need something really dumb to make you laugh. But that's the beauty of this show, is that it balances an amazing story of like these episodic, multi-part stories that stick with the characters and develop them to the very end. But you can just see shit go down just for the sake of having things happen and being fun. This show knows what I want as an American. I want guns. I like seeing a diverse cast that spans people from all over the world. I mean, if we're being real here, Dutch is literally just a way cooler version of Jet from Cowboy Bebop. The voice actors really gave their all to sell each and every character that they played, going to such hyperboles with the character archetypes that they are, and also just at the lengths of how they're just always screaming on top of each other. It's gotten to the point now where I don't think modern day dubs could ever reach the kind of heights that a lot of these older shows have. They just feel a lot more casual and less overplayed. That's not to say newer shows can't make a good dub. I mean, Mob Psycho 100 is probably one of my favorite dubs, but they're fewer and farther between now. Rewatching some of the older shows like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you just throw it on, put it in dub, it's like, I can enjoy it in my language and it's not cringy to hear. It's just really endearing. And now I'm just going off on a tangent, but I think having lighthearted moments in your series can make the more serious parts shine all the more. I mean, we've seen this with the live action Avatar show that just came out. They went full on to the serious bits and completely nuked Aang as a character, showing no childish emotion. and making all the serious bits fall flat. The reason the original animated series was so popular was because of these comedic moments that just let your mind wander and fully get immersed in everything. So when the serious bits do happen, you know that the story's not messing around now. And the lack of shift can make things seem very linear, where there is nothing really to look forward anymore and the show just becomes a slog. And it just baffles me that if a show isn't serious 100% of the time, it's labeled as a kid's show. And I believe that's a big reason why I enjoy anime way more than watching adult cartoons, as they don't know how to balance these two shifts of tone. Black Lagoon shows this perfect balance, and no matter what arc you watch, there's just always a bit of each half to have at your disposal. I got really attached to Black Lagoon during my first watch. There's a lot of story beats and amazing set pieces that just stick with you, some really cool locales, and some really fascinating characters that don't really get to live on screen long enough, but it's done intentionally to make you kind of wonder what their past is like, or what could have happened with them if they were given the chance to keep living on. This is a show where lives are cut really short, and not just for the comedic aspect, but to make this really sad theme that characters don't ever really get to progress and change for the better because of their line of work. Their lives are cut short when they tend to soften up and see the error of their ways and try to change and shift directions. And this brings me back to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where I realized all this when John and Jane finally softened up with each other, which built up their downfall, leading them to perish at the end of the series. And with that, I hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed talking about Black Lagoon, and I hope to find some more shows that can kind of fill this itch that I have for just really casual, fun dubs. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. But other than that, stay tuned for the next video. I don't know. See ya. Bye.